Most people live their lives in chains they forge themselves. Doubt, excuses, fear, a lifetime of broken promises to themselves. They wonder why they never win, why they stay stuck, why every time they reach for something greater, they collapse under the weight of their own hesitation. The truth is brutal but simple. You are not failing because of the world. You are failing because of you. But that changes now. These lessons aren't here to comfort you. They're here to break you, so you can rebuild yourself stronger. They will strip away your illusions, expose your excuses, and force you to face the one thing you've been avoiding: the truth. No more hoping, no more waiting, no more empty words. From this moment forward, you execute. You follow through. You become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, no matter what. The weak will look away. The cowards will quit. But you will rise. Lesson 1. The root of limiting beliefs. You stand in a cage, a prison of your own making. The bars, they're not steel. They're not unbreakable. They're made of whispers. The voices you've absorbed, the doubts you've fed, the promises you've shattered. You think you're free, but you're not. Because every time you set a goal, every time you tell yourself, this time will be different, there's another voice, a shadow in the back of your mind that sneers. You don't follow through. You never have. And the worst part, it's not lying. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you'd change? That you'd wake up early, hit the gym, start the business, cut the toxic habits, become someone better. But when the moment came, when discipline was required, what did you do? You hesitated. You doubted. You broke your own word. And so, the cage tightens. The bars grow thicker. Not because they're real, but because you believe they are. That's what a limiting belief is. A thought so repeated, so ingrained, that it becomes your identity. It becomes the script you follow. Not because it's true, but because you made it true. Let me ask you something. If a man lies to you every single day, if he makes promises and breaks them every time, do you trust him? Do you believe in him? No. You call him a fraud, a coward, a joke. So why do you expect any different from yourself? Your mind is keeping a record. Every broken promise, every excuse, every time you said tomorrow and meant never, it remembers. And now, when you reach for something greater, it reminds you. You're not the kind of person who follows through. You're not the kind of person who wins. And that's where you fail. Not in action, in belief. But here's the truth. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your broken promises. You are what you choose to become next. So today, right now, you make a choice. To tear down the lies. To see the bars for what they are. Hollow, fragile illusions. You don't need to escape the cage. You need to stop believing in it. Start small. Start where you are. Keep your word. To yourself. Build trust in the smallest ways. Because trust, once broken, is not rebuilt overnight. It is forged in the fire of daily discipline. You want to change? Then prove it. Not to me. Not to them. To you. The bars are waiting. The door is unlocked. The only question is, do you have the courage to walk through? Lesson 2. The power of self-trust. You don't believe in yourself. You think you do. You tell yourself you do. But deep down, in the silence of your mind, you hear the doubt, the hesitation, the echo of every time you've let yourself down. You've become the boy who cried wolf. But to yourself, every time you swore you'd change, every time you promised you'd commit, every time you said, this is it, and then did nothing. That's where your self-trust died. And now, here you are, afraid to take risks, paralyzed by your own hesitation. Not because you lack ability, not because you lack potential, but because you don't trust yourself to follow through. But let's get one thing straight. Without self-trust, you will never win. Success, growth, strength, those things demand consistency, and consistency demands trust. If you don't trust yourself to show up, how can you expect life to reward you? Think about this. If you had a gym partner, a friend who said, "I'll meet you at the gym at 6 a.m., and he never showed up, day after day, week after week, would you rely on him? Would you expect him to change? Would you bet on him? No. You'd call him unreliable, a flake, someone who talks but never delivers. But here's the punchline. That's how your mind sees you. It has no reason to believe in you. No proof, no evidence, just a history of broken promises. And so, when the time comes to act, it laughs in your face and says, "Why bother?" We both know how this ends. But here's where everything shifts. You can rebuild that trust. You can change the story. Not by making big, dramatic promises. Not by swearing that this time will be different. But by proving it. In the smallest ways. Every single day. Clean your room. Read one page of a book. Do one push-up. Make one healthy meal. Show up when you say you will. It sounds stupid. Insignificant. But that's how trust is built. Brick by brick. Small wins stacking on top of each other until one day, you look back and realize you are not the same person anymore. And that voice in your head that used to doubt you, it gets quieter. It starts to believe because you've given it a reason to. So here's your challenge. Don't make any promises today. Just take action. One small thing. Prove to yourself that you are done being unreliable. And then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. Until the day comes when you don't need to convince yourself anymore. Because the proof will be undeniable. And then, you will trust yourself again. Lesson 3. Identifying self-sabotage. Look around you. Every obstacle, every failure, every limitation you think is holding you back. What if I told you that you put it there? Not the world, not your parents, not your boss, your friends, or your enemies. You. You are the architect of your own downfall. You've built a life where you are your own greatest enemy. Every time you set a goal, every time you get close to breaking free, you pull yourself back down. Why? Because part of you doesn't want to win. You say you do. You think you do. But deep in the shadows of your mind, there's another voice. One that thrives in your failure. One that whispers, winning means change. Are you ready for that? Success means responsibility. Can you handle that? What if you try and still fail? So instead of facing the unknown, you sabotage yourself. You procrastinate. You make excuses. You drown yourself in distractions, mindless entertainment, cheap dopamine. You destroy your progress before it even begins, just so you don't have to face the fear of what comes next. And the worst part? You probably don't even realize you're doing it. Self-sabotage doesn't scream. It whispers. It disguises itself as comfort, as logic, as harmless little detours. It says, "You've worked hard today. Take a break. You'll start tomorrow. It's not a big deal." What's one more hour of scrolling? One more cheat meal? One more missed workout? It's death by 1,000 small cuts. And the result? You stay exactly where you are. Stuck. Trapped in a cycle of frustration. Never understanding why you can't break through. Well, here's the truth. It's not bad luck. It's not the system. It's not fate. It's you. But that also means you can stop it. You can break the cycle. You can take back control. And it starts with awareness. Catch yourself in the act. Next time you make an excuse, recognize it. Next time you start self-sabotaging, call it out. Say it out loud. I am doing this to myself. I am choosing failure right now. And I refuse to keep doing it. Because here's the thing. When you see the pattern, when you know it's happening, you take away its power. And when you take away its power, you take back your life. So your challenge today? Identify one way you've been sabotaging yourself. Write it down. Expose it. Bring it to light. And then, destroy it. Lesson 4. The power of small wins. You think success is built on massive leaps, on overnight transformations, on grand moments where everything changes in an instant. But that's a lie. Success isn't built in a day. It's built in the small moments. The ones that no one sees. The ones that seem insignificant. The ones that, when you're in them, feel like they don't even matter. But they do. Because how you do the small things is how you do the big things. If you cut corners on the little tasks, you'll cut corners on the big ones. If you can't follow through on simple commitments, how will you ever follow through on the life-changing ones? If you can't control your morning routine, how will you control your destiny? Every day, you make a choice. Not just once, but hundreds of times. Will you wake up when you said you would, or hit snooze? Will you clean your room, or leave it a mess? Will you show up for your workout, or find an excuse? Will you eat something that fuels your body, or something that slows you down? These seem like tiny choices, but they aren't. They are votes for the person you are becoming. Every time you follow through, every time you keep your word, you are casting a vote for your future self. The one who is disciplined, who is successful, who is unstoppable. And the best part? You don't need to win big today. You don't need to become a millionaire overnight. You don't need to build a perfect body in a week. You don't need to transform into a new person in a month. You just need to win today. One small victory, one promise kept, one brick laid. Because when you zoom out, when you look back, after months and years of stacking small wins, you won't recognize yourself. You'll have built something indestructible. And the people around you, the ones who are still waiting for their big break, they'll look at you and say, "Damn, how did he do it?" And you'll know. You didn't do it in one leap. You did it in 1,000 small steps. So here's your challenge. Win today. Do one thing, one small thing, that moves you forward. Lay the first brick, and then another, and another. Because when you master the small wins, the big victories take care of themselves. Lesson 5. Mastering daily discipline. Discipline isn't about motivation. Motivation is a liar. It's there when you feel good, when you're inspired, when the world is working in your favor. But the moment things get hard, the moment you're tired, frustrated, or uncertain, motivation disappears. That's why most people fail. They rely on something that isn't reliable. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask if you're in the mood. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It shows up every day, no matter what. And that is the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. Most people treat discipline like an option, like something they'll do if they feel like it. But that's not how winners think. For them, discipline is non-negotiable. There is no decision to be made. The work gets done, whether they're tired, whether they're busy, whether they feel like it or not. Because they understand something the weak never will. Discipline is freedom. When you master discipline, you take back control. You stop being a slave to your emotions, your excuses, your bad habits. You become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, no matter what. And that makes you dangerous. Because most people are ruled by impulse. They do what's easy, what's comfortable, what requires the least resistance. And that's why they stay the same. But you refuse to be like them. You refuse to be weak. You refuse to let your own mind sabotage you. So from this moment forward, you stop waiting for motivation. You stop making excuses. You stop giving yourself an easy way out. You do what needs to be done every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one is watching, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, exhausting. Because when you master discipline, you master life. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing, one discipline, and commit to it, no matter what. Prove to yourself that you don't need motivation. Prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. And when the weak ones quit, when they say it's too hard, when they beg for an easier way, you will still be standing. Lesson 6. Aligning actions with intentions. Intentions mean nothing without action. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow"? How many plans have you made? Dreams have you crafted? Goals have you set? Only to watch them fade into nothing? Not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't have the potential, but because you never took action. You lie to yourself. You say you want success, but your actions don't reflect it. You say you want discipline, but you let comfort win. You say you want to change, but you keep making the same choices. And then you wonder why nothing in your life is different. The truth? The universe doesn't reward intentions. It rewards execution. No one cares what you meant to do. No one cares about your plans. No one is coming to give you a trophy for thinking about working hard. What matters is what you do. So ask yourself, if I say I want to be strong, am I training like it? If I say I want to be successful, am I working like it? If I say I want to be disciplined, am I proving it daily? Because your life, the results you see, the success you achieve, the person you become, is nothing more than the sum of your repeated actions. Not your words, not your thoughts, your habits. And if those habits don't align with the future you want, then you don't actually want it. So stop fooling yourself. Either change your actions or change your expectations. Because you will never build an extraordinary life on a foundation of lazy, inconsistent effort. You want to be different? You want to be better? Then align your actions with your ambitions. Move with intention. Wake up and execute. Stop making excuses. Stop talking and start doing. Because the second your actions and your desires match, the second your effort finally aligns with your ambitions, everything changes. So here's your challenge. Look at your life. Identify where your actions don't match your goals and fix it. Because you don't deserve what you wish for. You deserve what you work for. Lesson 7. Transforming mindset through integrity. You say you want success. You say you want discipline. You say you want to be better, stronger, unstoppable. But let me ask you something. Do you trust yourself? Because if your own mind doesn't believe in you, nothing else matters. You can set all the goals you want. You can dream of greatness. You can tell yourself this time will be different. But if your subconscious hears those words and laughs, if it reminds you of every time you've quit, every time you've broken your own word, then deep down, you already know the truth. You're lying to yourself. And that's the real reason you're stuck. Not because you aren't capable, not because you don't have potential, but because you lack integrity with yourself. What is integrity? It's doing what you say you're going to do. It's following through, even when it's hard. It's keeping your promises. especially the ones you make to yourself. You wouldn't trust a friend who constantly betrayed you. You wouldn't respect a leader who never followed through. So why do you tolerate that behavior from yourself? Your mind keeps a record. Every time you say, "I'm going to change," and don't, it remembers. Every time you set a goal and quit when it gets hard, it remembers. Every time you take the easy way out instead of pushing forward, it remembers. And now, when you set a new goal, when you say you'll do better, what happens? That voice in your head, the one that knows the real you, it whispers, "We've been here before. You don't mean it." And that's why you fail. Not because you can't succeed, but because deep down, you don't even believe yourself anymore. So how do you fix it? How do you rebuild self-trust? You start small. You make a promise, and you keep it. Not a big one, not some grand declaration. Something simple, something undeniable. Wake up when you say you will. Train when you say you will. Read that chapter. Make that call. Show up. Not because it's easy, not because someone is watching, but because you said you would. And as you stack those small wins, something changes. The voice in your head stops doubting. It stops mocking. It starts believing. Because now you have proof. Now you don't just say you're disciplined. You are. Now you don't just hope you'll succeed. You're proving it. Now when you look in the mirror, you don't see someone full of empty promises. You see a person of integrity. And that person can accomplish anything. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing, just one, and do it. Every day, no matter what. Because once you prove to yourself that you can be trusted, nothing will stop you. Lesson 8. Overcoming resistance and excuses. There's a war inside you, a battle between the part of you that wants more success, more discipline, more power, and the part of you that whispers, "Stay the same." That voice, that resistance, it's the enemy. It's the voice that tells you to hit snooze. The voice that convinces you to start tomorrow. The voice that feeds you excuse after excuse, just so you never take action. And the worst part, you listen to it. You let it convince you that you're tired, that you're too busy, that you don't have what it takes. You let it chain you to the same life, the same failures, the same stagnation. But here's what you need to understand. That voice is a liar. It doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't care about your dreams. It only cares about one thing, keeping you weak. Because weakness is easy. Comfort is easy. Staying the same is easy. But here's the truth. Nothing great comes from comfort. No one becomes unstoppable by taking the easy road. No one builds greatness by making excuses. You think warriors are made in comfort? You think champions rise by waiting for the perfect moment? You think the strong, the disciplined, the powerful wait until they feel like it? No. They take action, whether they want to or not. They wake up and put in the work, no matter how they feel. They silence the excuses before they can take root. They fight resistance every single day. And they win. And that's what you need to do. Because the longer you entertain your excuses, the weaker you become. The longer you let resistance win, the harder it is to break free. But the second you stop listening, the second you push forward despite the voice, that's the moment you take control. That's the moment you realize you were never tired. You were never too busy. You were never incapable. You were just trapped in your own mind. And now you break free. So here's your challenge. The next time you hear an excuse, destroy it. I don't feel like working out. Too bad. Do it anyway. I'll start tomorrow. No, you start now. It's too hard. Good. That means it's worth doing. Because every time you conquer an excuse, every time you silence that voice, you grow stronger. And one day, that voice won't even try to stop you. Because it will know it already lost. To the returning GrimFace warriors, you already know what this is. You've stared into the abyss, embraced the grind, and chosen discipline over comfort. You're not here for motivation. You're here for execution. And to the new ones, consider this your initiation. If you're tired of the lies, the excuses, the weak mindset that's been keeping you chained, then it's time to wake up. This movement isn't for everyone. It's for those who are ready to tear down their limitations and build themselves into something unstoppable. So if that's you, subscribe now. Join the GrimFace movement. Because weakness dies here, and only the relentless remain.